Hello, this is Evan Brooks and Danny Perez, and we will be discussing some of the main terms we have learned so far in our class. The list of words we have acquired were carefully chosen by us because we feel like it represents the common themes we have learned thus far. Our words all tie to the ideas of global political challenges, key concepts, and levels of analysis.
Good morning, everyone. To start off our discussion, we will talk about soft power. Soft power is defined as a more persuasive approach of having power by using things like big-name companies or corporations and the use of economic and cultural influences. Countries that do not have a strong military will most likely use soft power as a way to influence the world. By having some type of power, countries have the ability to join important economic and political allies with other countries. Soft power is a friendly way of using appeal and attraction to gain an audience. The term soft power was introduced by Joseph Nye in the late 1980s. Nye states that soft power gets people to want the thing that you want. That makes people co-op rather than coerce. Next, we have Evan, who will be speaking on hard power.
Thanks, Daniel. Hard power is the use of military and economic means to influence the behavior or other interests of other political bodies. This form of political power is often aggressive and is most immediately effective when imposed by one political body upon another of lesser military and/or economic power. According to some, power is linked with the possession of certain tangible resources, including population, territory, natural resources, economic and military strength, among others. Hard power is defined by the use of such resources to spur the behavior of other entities.
Now we will discuss smart power, which is basically the combination of both soft and hard power. Smart power uses coercion, payment, and attraction to influence others. Coercion and payment come from hard power and attraction comes from soft power. Smart power is used by countries such as the United States. It is an idea that a lot of countries aspire to use, yet only a few can do. Countries have to keep a balance between being intimidating and being friendly. The intimidation factor comes with having a big, strong military, and the friendly factor comes from cooperating with other countries to achieve something.
All three of these types of powers cover national, international, and global levels of analysis. They all affect individual countries as well as surrounding countries and even other countries around the world.
That's right, Evan. Now we will discuss the terms unilateralism and multilateralism.
First things first, unilateralism is when a country works by itself to resolve a problem or do something individually. This is important when we are discussing the types of powers because countries with more hard power will act more unilaterally. That is, they would rather work by themselves to achieve what they want. A good example is a country going into war. Countries with a lot of hard power will most likely act unilaterally in a war because they have the ability to be good enough by themselves. Unilateralism relates to the national level of analysis because it deals with an individual country.
Next, we will discuss multilateralism. Multilateralism is when multiple countries work together to resolve problems. This is extremely common with things like organizations that rely on multiple countries working together to form allies and help each other out. A good example is the EU or the European Union. Many European countries joined into one organization that lets them work together and connect on economic and political levels. Multilateralism is most likely used with countries who have more soft power and smart power. Both of these types of power need cooperation with other countries to work, and that is exactly what multilateralism is. It relates to the international and global levels of analysis because it encompasses multiple countries, either as small groups of allies or large organizations.
The next terms we will go over are state, nation, and nation-state. Although they all sound similar, they're all different.
That's facts, Evan. At this point, I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. To be honest, I need a little break right now. Why don't you go?
Okay, sounds good. So, what is a state? A state is an organized political entity with a permanent population, a well-defined territory, and a government. Normally, when we think of the word state, we think about our own country's states. However, it is a term that is used more often than you may think. Other countries also have states that break up their countries into smaller sections. These sections all follow the country's government but also abide to the rules of their state. Also, many countries have different names for states. For example, in Canada, states are called provinces, and in Japan, they are called prefectures.
Next is a nation. Most people think a nation is basically a country. In fact, a nation is a group of people who feel a common identity due to a shared language, culture, and history. So a nation is not a country. A nation is just a group of people who all identify with each other. Some countries are even split up into multiple nations, such as Canada, which has two distinct languages throughout the country. The languages English and French are found in certain areas in Canada, and the vast majority of certain provinces speak only one of those languages.
Finally, we have a nation-state. A nation-state is a specific geographic area containing a sovereign polity whose population identifies with that polity. Basically, it is a country or state that only has people who are all of the same or similar culture, language, or history.
Alright, so state, nation, and nation-state can relate to levels of analysis starting at the community level. People in communities can often relate to each other in terms of culture, history, or language, so they can be considered a nation. From there, these terms can go on into regional, national, international, and possibly global levels of analysis because they deal with decently large groups of people around the world.
Yep, and that concludes our video dialogue vocab thing for this class. Adios.